joins the program but does not settle his case, he will nonetheless be more informed about the process. So that's one way the town wins. The other way is obviously that the town reduces the conflict between its residents, and the town also has a less burden on the police department and the court. So why is mediation? Why mediation? So mediation has a proven record of success in the Superior Court of New Jersey. Mediation is mandatory for divorce cases. The result is that out of 100 divorce cases, 98% or 98 of those 100 are actually settled. Only 2% go to trial. The another reason is that the parties control the outcome of their conflict. The mediation provides education, as previously mentioned, and this is as part of the very nature of the mediation process. And Dover and the town will be able to reduce the burden of its resources while reducing the conflict. So the types of disputes resolved through CAMPO. At this moment, these are the type of cases: landlord-tenant, neighbor issues, certain family cases, and noise complaint. We believe that the list will grow as we receive more input from the residents, as we receive more input from the referral sources such as the police department and the court. So this is how it works. But before that, I would like to mention that because language inclusivity is very important for the program is, even at this moment, which we have the automated system set up, it's in both the English and the Spanish language. And so this is roughly how it would work. A Dover resident will call the CAMPO phone number. In fact, if this number is actually a test number, you could call this number. You will interact with the automated system, which is on 24 hours. And the resident will call. And if the resident wants to talk to someone in person, the system will forward the call during office hours. So then if the resident decides to go with the electronic method of signing up, a text message will be sent, and the resident could then complete a form and then receive a call back from the mediator, who myself, or through someone from the administrative department. So this is as I mentioned, language inclusivity is very important. This is a very short video of how easy it is just to fill out this form, and doesn't ask many questions, but the questions that it does ask at this moment are important. For example, name, as the next day, for example, I will want to know who signed up. This question, do you live in the town of Dover, New Jersey, is extremely important because the program is available solely for Dover residents. It's not, it's cost-free for the residents, but it will have some cost for certain landlords. The landlords don't necessarily have to live in Dover, but they must have a property in Dover. So, you know, the rest would be just certain information, a phone number, and the referral source. For example, here we have the police, the court, social media, and the website. Here, this particular example highlights the relationships that we want to build with the police department, the court, and also we would like to establish some social media presence for those residents that don't necessarily have access to the court or the police department, or wouldn't know how to obtain it otherwise. Certainly, many people are interacting with social media. So let's go back to Bob and Sally really quick to see what occurred. As again, this is a use case. Sally ended up calling the CAMPO phone number, but she received the phone number from a police officer. As mentioned before, she thought she was going to evict Bob by calling the police. The police officer told Sally that CAMPO was available, and you know, this highlights the point that we would like to build relationships with the police department, because again, it helps them resolve some issues that could potentially escalate. Sally signed up through the electronic format, and she received a call back for an appointment. So eventually the parties had a conference over Zoom, such like the case that we're doing right now. And through the mediator, this conference was coordinated. Part of the mediation process involves contact and it's voluntary in nature. So, for example, in this use case, I would have to have contacted Bob, and he would have been must have been on board with having this conference. But again, as mentioned, even if they did not settle their case, or residents don't settle their case, just as being part of the process, they will become better informed as to what they could do and how they could do uh, how they could take their case in the future. This, of course, lessens conflict. So they settled the case, and so after talks, Bob realized that he was still responsible for paying the owed rent, and he what in this use case, Bob and Sally signed a legally binding agreement. So that's also important to note, because the goal of the program is not solely to have, say, a verbal agreement. The goal will be for both parties to sign a legally binding agreement. Of course, again, as mentioned, this is a voluntary nature, and the assumption is that they would have negotiated a middle ground. And so here, Bob agreed to pay the owed rent over the next 12 months. His rent went increased $450. This is probably going to be a very realistic possibility for many people in the future, an agreement such as this one, where you spread in the owed amount of back rent throughout, say, 1 year. Again, about 40 million people, according to news outlets, are going to face eviction or are going to be in the eviction process. So that would the use case concludes the how the CAMPO mediation program would work. And if you have any questions, I would greatly appreciate any questions or feedback, maybe, or questions regarding how the program will work.
For that presentation. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes, Mayor, I have a question. This is Alderman Ballesteros. Thank you, Mr. Lafuente, for the presentation. I just had a question regarding, I guess, the approach of this mediation program for neighbor disputes, and what kind of legally binding agreement we would see as a result when it's something as, I don't like how my neighbor has their backyard, or something to that effect.
Yes. So not all cases are going to result in a legally binding agreement. I suspect that a great majority of neighbor complaints, for example, the usefulness would be in the educational aspect, educating neighbors as to their rights, and also educating neighbors as to their obligations. And so I think a lot of the problems with, for example, noise complaints tends to be erroneous information as to, for example, the hours that certain loud music could be set up in the code. So in that respect, and in particular to noise complaints, I think the usefulness of the program will probably be more related to the educational aspect, and also the aspect of reducing conflict. Because if the program reaches, if the conflict reaches such a level, it might involve the police. So before it does that, the police themselves might actually recommend the mediation program.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
Yes. Hi, it's Alderwoman Judith Rugg. What other towns similar to Dover's diversity have you worked in, and what has been the success rate and the outcomes from your research?
So I have not worked in towns, in New Jersey towns, and so I wouldn't have the research. But this particular program is actually because it's being run by the town. So the municipal court system has its own. It's called the Conflict Dispute Resolution Program. In fact, in Dover, this program has already exists, and that's a conversation that we had earlier with the municipal court. But a mediation program run by the town that I'm aware of does not exist in recent towns. So I don't have the information, Alderwoman, that you seek.
Thank you.
Diego, this is Bill Islam. I'm with the Code Enforcement Department and Engineering Department. Just a quick question for you.
Yes.
How is the program paid for?
So the program is paid for through it was enacted earlier back in April. As to the exact budgetary, I'm not 100% sure. The constraints, because I don't manage that. That's being managed by the administrative department and the town attorney, Mr. Tim Downs.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Diego, for your presentation.
Thank you, Mayor.
Ordinances for second reading, public hearing, and adoption. You have ordinance 18/2020, an ordinance of the town of Dover, county of Morris, state of New Jersey, amending chapter 236, section 38 of the code of the town of Dover to permit certain signs in the commercial zoning district along Route 46. Need a motion to open the floor for public hearing.
I'll move that.
I'll second.
Are there any opposed to the motion? And by unanimous consent, floor is open. Any member of the public wish to address this ordinance may do so after being recognized by the mayor.
Are there any comments or questions? Hearing no comments or questions, we will close that portion to the public.
I'll move that.
I'll second Alderwoman Rugg.
Any opposed? Hearing none, so moved. Adoption of ordinance 18/2020 would need a motion and second.
I'll move it.
Alderwoman Rugg, I will second.
On the roll call, Alderman Craig,
Yes.
Alderman Tapia,
Yes.
Alderman Ballesteros,
Yes.
Alderwoman Rugg,
Yes.
Alderwoman Cruz,
Yes.
Alderman Valencia,
Yes.
Hello?
Alderman Quinones, Alderman Quinones, Alderwoman Whitner,
Yes.
Mayor Blackman.
Yes.
So adopted 8-0. The next item would be the approval of the bills list, resolution 199/2020. Need a motion and second.
Mr. Schmidt, before we move that, I just had a quick question. I know that there's an item on the bills list that's tied to one of the consent agenda resolutions. Do we need to vote for that one before we move to vote for the bills list. I'm specifically talking about the resolution 202, 2020.
Adrian, what is the number you're talking about on the bills list?
On the bills list, let me find it real quick. I apologize for not having it in front of me. It is on page 15, 20-01380. That's the tax overpayment refund for Zir Maralondo.
What is your question?
Should we vote to move one of the items from the consent agenda regarding, resolution 202, 2020 to vote now before we vote on the bills list? Just a matter of procedure, and that's why I was asking.
Rather, you mean, Adrian, voting on the resolution first before we authorize the payment, you mean?
Yeah.
Roger, would you repeat that, please?
Alderman Ballesteros is suggesting that we remove 202 off the consent agenda and vote for it before we vote on the bills list, because if we pass the bills list, we'll be authorizing the payment before we vote on the resolution.
So we have to remove that item number from the bills list. Cliff, do you have that number?
I have to bear with this.
We have, so the one that he's talking about is 200-2020 to remove from the bills list to vote on separately.
To remove it from the consent agenda and vote it separately.
Correct.
Mayor, if I may, if it's possible, would it be easier to vote on the consent agenda first and then revisit the bills list?
Could do that.
Okay.
That would probably, yeah, instead of pulling it out and then, okay. The consent agenda, following resolutions. Resolution 200, 2020 is a resolution accepting the Federal Emergency Management Agency Assistant Firefighter for training. Resolution 201, 2020, a resolution approving a volunteer fire department member. Resolution 202, 2020, resolution approving a refund of overpayment of taxes for Block 2107, Lot 6 in the town of Dover. Resolution 203, 2020, resolution accepting the Federal Emergency Management Agency Assistance to Firefighters Grant for COVID-19. Resolution 204, 2020, resolution authorizing a contract with Benchmark Analytics.
May I ask a question about resolution 204? Just a quick one. Just wondering, as we're consolidating all the police reporting platforms into just Benchmark Analytics, are we saving any money, or is this just a convenience thing in terms of organizing the department?
Mayor, you want me to, can I answer that? Sure. Yeah, Alderman Ballesteros, good question. This is Carlos Sanchez. Oh, sorry.
I can hear you, Sarah. Okay.
Sorry
Again,
about
that.
Good question.
No worries.
So this will do two things for the police department. Number one, with everything, with the fact that we have hired a audit consultant for the police department, is one of the suggestions is that we have everything in one system for reporting purposes and to allow the police department to be able to generate a better quality of reports, including reports with police force and stuff like that. So from that aspect, it will consolidate everything into one system and will allow us to have better reporting. As far as the savings is concerned, it's probably not a saving. We're probably going to be breaking even because we pay multiple platforms right now, and we will be condensing that. So as far as the cost, it's probably a break even for us.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
It's a break even for us. So because we have multiple
break even.
platforms.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions?
The bills list, yeah.
Hearing none, need a motion and second.
I'll move it.
There's a second?
I'll second it. I'll second it.
Roll call. Alderman Craig.
Yes.
Alderman Tapia.
Yes.
Alderman Ballesteros.
Yes.
Alderwoman Rugg.
Yes.
Alderwoman Cruz.
Yes.
Alderman Valencia.
Yes.
Alderman Quinones. Alderwoman Whitner.
Yes.
Mayor Blackman.
Yes.
All right, back to Resolution 199, which is the bills list.
I'll move that.
I'll second Alderwoman Rugg.
The roll, Alderman Craig.
Yes.
Alderman Tapia.
Yes.
Alderman Ballesteros.
Yes.
Alderwoman Rugg.
Yes.
Alderwoman Cruz.
Yes.
Alderman Quinones.
Sorry, you forgot Valencia.
Sorry, Alderman Valencia.
Yes.
Quinones. Mayor, Alderwoman Whitner.
Yes.
Mayor Blackman.
Yes. It's okay. Yes. At this time, we're going to be swearing in a volunteer fire member. I'm going to mess up his name. It's Anthony Sorias. Anthony Cerisi. He's here with us tonight. He's also here with our chief, John Veloso. John, do you have any comments or remarks you would like to say?
No, I just, actually, yes, I'm glad to have Anthony here. Could always use more members of the fire department, and I'm glad he come out and applied. I can't wait for him to go to fire school and start doing the job.
And we want to thank John also, because I think he's brought in 3 or 4 more volunteers this year. Thank you for that. So at this time, we're going to welcome our new fireman, Town of Dover. That's funny. Okay.
He's going to move in front of the camera there.
Come on, John. Get up here.
Well, make sure they can see it.
Which hand's on the Bible?
Left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Anthony Cerisi,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New Jersey,
of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith to the same
to the same,
governments established in the United States
in the United States
and in this state,
and in the state,
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
So help you God. You further solemnly swear
I do further solemnly swear
that I will impartially
that I will impartially
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of the office
all the duties of the office
firefighter
of firefighter
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help you God.
So help you God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is where she draws blood.
I'm so used. Oh, let's try this one. I'm used to sticking needles.
And 6 minutes of these minutes.
You see, I'm not a firefighter, that's for sure. Don't call me for a fire. Congratulations and
Thank you
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Where are we?
We are at resolution 205, 2020. Resolution 205, 2020, resolution authorizing the posting of certain documents to the website of the town of Dover. Some of you may know I've been working on an open government ordinance. Alderman Freya has. And right now, we have not been posting any resolutions or ordinances on the website until they're approved. Part of that is to do with some legal reasons. So I put this resolution together, which would, moving forward, until an ordinance is adopted, have a policy in place which would allow the posting of certain documents, resolutions, and ordinances on the website with being marked draft. And then obviously once they're approved, the approved copies will also be posted.
Mr. Schmidt, I have a question, or at least something to comment on. I received some letters today before the meeting regarding this agenda, and I think there is some clarity that needs to be said about point number 3 on resolution 205, 2020 regarding the requirement to post online. I'm just wondering, is it just because of a time limit that we can't post everything online once it's ready? Because I wonder, just to assuage anyone's concerns about not everything being available at a certain amount of time, because we're trying to strive for transparency. I'm just hoping you can talk a bit more about that.
I mean, yeah, if there's an item added, for example, today or this afternoon that's urgent from a court case that happened this afternoon, and we need to put something together and act on it. That document, if it, is getting finalized at 6:30 at night, there just might not be enough time to go in and to edit the attachment. And just so everyone knows, when I have the Word document, I combine it all into one PDF. So I have to, create a new PDF, upload it. It's not complicated, but there's some time involved. So there might be circumstances where there just is not enough time to get something up there. Most of the time, I think we should be able to. But the reason why number 3 is in there is if, something comes in, at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, there may not be enough time to write it, to get it out, and also post it on the website. And nothing is perfect. I'm just trying to know as well if, there's problems with logging into the website, or if that system is slow, you can't always control that. So, I mean, it'll be my intent, myself and Ray in my office, to try to get stuff up. But in certain circumstances, if it comes in late, there's reasonable things to from where I sit. Something could get in. I could get an email at 3 o'clock. We add this to the agenda. I'm in a meeting. I'm not getting out to 4:30 and seeing it. So that's why that's there.
Mr. Schmidt,
Sure.
I have a follow-up question about this. So 48 hours prior to the meeting brings us to 7 p.m. Sunday, which means that once the agenda goes out on Friday evening, the public, unless you find time, will not see any changes. So I'm just wondering why 48 hours. I can understand 24 for sure. The day of a meeting can get very hectic. And like you said, things come up all the time, but I feel like 24 hours is a little more reasonable than 48 hours.
48 hours is usually with the special meeting notice requirement. That's where I went with 48 hours from.
But there's not always resolutions and items that we have to add to the agenda. It's under certain circumstances because we try not to do that, but sometimes it cannot be helped if something has to go on the meeting agenda because we won't meet again for the next 2 weeks.
I understand. Mr. Schmidt, you brought up a good point. So is this resolution just to bridge us until we revisit the Open Government and Transparency Act?
Yeah, so you see what the attachment looks like in your packets?
Yes.
That's how it shows currently on the website for the resolutions and ordinances.
Yes. So
yeah,
once,
yes,
but,
this is a temporary policy until a permanent one can be enacted. Because the first reading, second reading advertisement, that could take, 60 to 90 days. And, absent that, it's just, it bridges the gap. Yes.
okay.
Yeah, that helps contextualize this a bit more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion and a second. Are there any changes to the ordinance before we vote? To the resolution? Are there any?
Sorry, I did mean to also ask, can we discuss what certain documents mean? Like what falls under that and what doesn't fall under that?
The resolution and ordinances.
What line is that?
We're still talking of the same resolution, Adrian. The 20.
Yes.
Certain
Goes out
documents.
2020.
Certain documents is in the title of the resolution.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yes, certain means the resolution and ordinances.
Okay, thank you.
There are no changes to this ordinance, resolution. We're going to move to vote. We need a motion and a second.
The motion, Mayor.
Thank you.
El second, Valencia.
Roll call, Alderman Kraft,
Yes.
Alderman Tapia,
Yes.
Alderman Ballesteros,
Yes.
Alderwoman Rugg,
Yes.
Alderwoman Cruz,
Yes.
Alderman Valencia,
Yes.
Alderman Quinones,
Yes.
Alderwoman Whitner,
Yes.
Mayor Blackman.
Yes. Thank you.
And then there's one other resolution which is coming from the floor, which I'll read in full into the record. And this is a perfect example of posting, because this came in late this afternoon following a court hearing. This will be resolution 206-2020. It's a resolution of the mayor and board of aldermen of the town of Dover, county of Morris, state of New Jersey, authorizing settlement of litigation in the matter of William Woodhull Jr. v. the town of Dover et al., docket number 2:18-CV 14998-ES-MAH. Whereas the town of Dover is a defendant in William Woodhall Jr. versus Town of Dover et al., docket number 2:18-CV-14998-ES-MAH, which was filed in October of 2018 in the Federal District Court for the District of New Jersey, and is before the Honorable Esther Salas, Judge of the United States District Court for the District of New Jersey, and Federal Magistrate Judge Michael A. Hammer. And whereas the town of Dover is also providing legal counsel to other named defendants, including James P. Dodd and Donald Travisano, who served as mayor and administrator of the town of Dover when the case was filed and who were named defendants in the complaint. And whereas on or about June 26, 2020, the parties notified the court that the parties had reached a settlement of this matter. And whereas the Personnel Committee has discussed this case and the settlement and recommends that the proposed settlement be approved by the governing body of the town of Dover. And whereas the governing body of the town of Dover believes that it is in the best interest of the municipality to settle the matter. And whereas defendant Donald Travisano has also approved the settlement as required. And now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and board of aldermen of the town of Dover, county of Morris, state of New Jersey, that the mayor and appropriate town officials are authorized to execute a settlement agreement in the manner of William Woodhall Jr. versus the town of Dover et al., docket number 2:18-CV-14998-ES-MAH. That's it.
Thank you, John.
John, is there any way to, is there an electronic version of that you can send to us just for reference?
You're muted.
If anyone has any questions, we have the attorney on the line to answer your questions in this. That's resolution 206.
Yeah, I do have a couple questions.
Go ahead.
Counselor, quick question. How old is this case? How long has the town been litigating this case?
The town, so just for introduction, I'm Scott Salmon. I'm the town labor counsel. The case has gone on since October of 2018. So we're coming up on 2 years now.
Got it. And what are the specifics of this case? Why was this former employee suing the town of Dover and elected officials and the former administrator?
Sure. So Mr. Woodhull was a longtime police officer, then sergeant with the police department, serving from 1991 until 2018. At which point, February 2018, he decided to retire. As part of his retirement, just like any other town employee, he was entitled to the payment of certain vacation time, sick time, unpaid overtime, things like that, things of that nature. He was not paid for that time when he left the service of the town when he retired. It's not entirely clear to us at this point why he was not paid, but we know that he was not. As a result of the failure of the town to pay that amount to him, he decided to file a lawsuit against the town, against the former mayor, Mr. Dodd, as well as the former administrator, Mr. Travisano, for intentional failure to pay the amount of money that he was owed. The exact amount that he was owed is still somewhat of an open question. Our position is that at most he would have been entitled to about $23,000 worth that overtime and paid leave. Mr. Woodhull's position was that he was entitled to up to $35,000 in fees. Depends a little bit on how you calculate it. Plus, as part of the statute that Mr. Woodhull was suing under, he's entitled to, at a minimum, attorney's fees for the costs incurred in bringing the lawsuit, and two, he is potentially entitled to up to twice. It's called something that's called. I'm sorry. He would have been entitled to up to twice as much in whatever he would have been owed in that unpaid overtime. He would have been owed as sort of a punitive measure to the town that he could have been entitled to as well. So when we were looking at this case and we were evaluating it, we knew that we were going to have to pay Mr. Woodhull some amount of money. It was just a question of exactly how much. Looking at it from our perspective, he would have been entitled to at a minimum most likely $43,000 plus his attorney's fees, which after 2 years you could imagine would add up, potentially up to potentially a minimum of $70,000 if you go by using his numbers. Again, adding attorney's fees on top of that. And so when we evaluated the case, we decided, you know, we're going to have to pay some amount of money anyway. We can either try and resolve it now and get the town out of this problem, or we can continue to keep going and argue over the $12,000 difference between what we say he's worth, say the case is worth, and what they say the case is worth. In the meantime, my attorney's fees would have certainly continued to go up for the town. More time I spent on the case, the longer we argued over this, his attorney's fees were going to go up. So I believe we ended up resolving this case for about $60,000, which frankly, I'm hoping Mr. Woodhull and his lawyer are not on this call, because I think that is a pretty good deal for us. And since it's not official yet, I'm hoping they're not listening in. But I think it's a good deal for the town. I think it's at pretty much the minimum of what the town could have had to pay. And so that's why I'm pretty glad that we're going to be able to get, I think, a good deal for the town out of this.
Thank you, Scott, for that information. Are there any other questions for the attorney?
Mayor, one final question. So this case was settled, and my understanding is that, you know, you work on this case since about 6-7 months now, and so
January 1st.
So you managed to resolve a case that was already pending for almost 2 years, in trying to save the town and our residents' money. So thank you for that, sir. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. We are hoping this case can come to a close. And Scott, thank you for your hard work that you have been doing for us here in the town. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
We need a motion and a second, please.
I'll move it.
Second, Mayor.
Thank you.
On the roll call, Alderman Craft,
Yes.
Alderman Tapia,
Yes.
Alderman Ballesteros,
Yes.
Alderwoman Rugg,
Yes.
Alderwoman Cruz,
Yes.
Alderman Valencia,
Yes.
Alderman Quinones,
Yes.
Alderwoman Whitner,
Yes.
Mayor Blackman. No old business.
I have some things. Okay. Okay. I just want to give a couple of informational points here. First of all, as you know, you're all aware of with our storm last week. I'm sure you were home, some without power and some had power, but we want to thank our police and our fire department for helping us during this storm, and our DPW. Our police department was helping with JCP&L to get the streets at nighttime that didn't have power, to report them out to JCP&L. So we thank them for that. We also were having daily calls with JCP&L, giving us an update on the outages in the town and how many Dover had. And when we look at the whole big picture, I think there was over 750 some thousand people out of power. Most people in Dover, I think if I'm correct, had their power back by late yesterday. There may be a couple of straggler streets, but I don't think we have that many out. We were all assigned one person to Dover to communicate with us on daily or nightly basis, so that was very helpful to us. JCP&L also offered water and ice at most of the ShopRites, and we posted that up on the bulletin board. And JCP&L had over 8,000 utility workers from about 17 states. And that was a big help to them. And we need to thank JCP&L. I know some people weren't happy with the process, but you know, a storm that size, I think it was almost like the, I think it was Hurricane Sandy, that when we had the last one where we lost trees and power and all kinds of different things. So we thank everyone for their support. We want to thank the residents for helping residents. We received a call in here from Wharton of a person that had lost their home, and we got them help through the Salvation Army here. So we want to thank them also for that. We have still our campaign of Mask Up. We're asking people to please mask up. Our numbers are still high and we need to continue to do that. We have it on in both languages, English and Spanish. So if you can help us to spread the word. I noticed at the parks over the weekend, there were no masks on adults or children. Just saying, please mask up. The other thing I wanted to just share with you, we got a report on Wednesday, just for Dover. We had 1,772 people without power. And the next day they were down to 942. So that was really a big help to all of us. And thanks to everyone that did their part in helping to keep people safe and to help with generators that people didn't have at that particular time. And the other item I have is tomorrow evening here at 6 p.m. we are doing a small ceremony of a rededication to the dogs of Dover. I want to make it clear. The reason the dogs, and we're having this celebration tomorrow, which is very small, is because the dogs came in under my administration. I'm not taking credit for the dogs, although when they first came here, I was a member on the board and I was part of the ceremony with the dogs. But tomorrow we have a nice program set up. We invite you all to come out at 6 p.m. And after we do the dedication with the dogs, we're going to have coupons for you to go out to the restaurant. And I'm going to hold up the flyer. If you can see any of that, it just gives you what restaurants are going to be given. And some of them are very good. I'll read you one that is going to be real good. It's a rack of ribs for $8. That sounds pretty good to me. So please come out tomorrow, join us, tell your friends, tell your neighbors that we're going to be having this ceremony at 6 p.m. right here in the front of Town Hall. And with that, we will restaurants are going to be given. Excuse me? No? Okay. I can't find my public statement. I'm going to read you our public statement to open our meeting up to the public. I'm sorry? I didn't hear you. Anybody else have anything from the board before we open it up to the public?
Yes, I'd like to ask a question for Clerk Schmidt. What is the process to introduce resolutions or ordinances from the floor by title only? And then the second reading will be in September, at the first meeting in September.
To introduce something from the floor in town code, no resolution or item may be introduced from the floor unless authorized by the mayor or upon a 2/3 vote of all the members of the Board of Aldermen. And that is an ordinance 10/2020, 2-4 J.
Got it. All right, thank you.
Okay. We're going to close that portion. I'm going to read the public portion. The town of Dover highly values the input of residents in making important decisions that affect the residents of our community. We also believe in the rights of residents to observe governing body meetings to ensure that all residents have the opportunity to attend our meetings and offer comments, and to ensure that the governing body can conduct the important business of the town. We ask that you speak the following guidelines when making public comments. The mayor will recognize those audience who wish to comment. All members of the public attending mayor and board meetings must treat each other and the mayor of Aldermen with respect. State your full name and your address for the record. Your time limit will be 5 minutes. If you have a question we're unable to answer, feel free to submit it to our town clerk or town administrator in writing, and including your name, address, and telephone number where you can be contacted. Individual offering comments are not permitted to make personal attacks on employees, the mayor, or any member of the town and of the governments for the board. We open this up now. Anyone from the public that would like to speak?
Good evening, Mayor. It's Tamara from Planning and Zoning. I'd like to make a comment, please.
Yes, Tamara.
I just wanted to make a comment to the mayor and board in regards to the Veterans Housing Project, the Penrose project that closed last week. I was thrilled that that was finally transferred. As you know, that's been in-house since 2016. It came before the planning board twice. And I just wanted to thank everybody involved, the mayor, the aldermen, Mr. Downs, Carlos, everyone that came together to make that happen. It's good for the town to meet our affordable housing. And I just wanted to thank everybody for making that happen. It's a very big deal. The Veterans Housing Project.
Thank you, Tamara, for that. We're excited as you are, so thank you. Anyone else in the public would like to speak?
Yes,
Hearing
Mayor.
no other voices?
Yes, Mayor. I'd like to make a comment, please. This is Felipe Davila from 309 Washington Avenue.
Yes.
This past Sunday, as you know, we had a cleanup in Dover on North Salem Street, as well as Richards Ave, from North Salem to, I believe, Mercer. And we were able to gather a good amount of garbage and bags that I believe DPW took this morning. And this was a continuation of one that we had a couple weeks ago that I'm sure you guys are aware of as well. And we have discussed doing a couple more in town. So I wanted to continue the conversation by again suggesting that we put more garbage cans around town. I know you and I spoke, and you had mentioned that there was more in the past, but we had removed them because they were overflowing. Again, I believe that that's the reason why we should continue to have even more garbage cans around town. I spoke to some business owners in the area, and they mentioned to me that something which was real obvious, and that's that the town doesn't do a good enough job of going around these streets and these areas and picking up garbage, aside from just picking up the garbage that residents leave out. But anybody that's walking the streets, as we can all tell, they're leaving garbage around these businesses, around the homes, and on the street. So I again suggest to all of you, the mayor and the board, that we discuss adding garbage cans around town, not only having them on Blackwell Street and on the main roads, but also in between. For example, North Salem Street, all the way down Richards. Um, I don't know the last time that Richard Street was cleaned. It's, it was completely filthy. And if nobody took the initiative to go around and clean up that street, I mean, how, who knows how long it would have remained dirty. So we have no problem going around and bringing people out to clean these streets, but I think it's the town's job to make sure that it's that this is sustainable. This isn't something that people can come out and continue to do all the time. It needs to be a joint effort. And so thank you for that. I also want to applaud you guys for going to a Zoom meeting this week. I think this is a much better way to meet and to have these meetings. I think everybody can agree on that. So thank you for that as well.
Okay, thank you very much for your comments. Anyone else have any comments at all? Hearing no voices, we will close the public portion. Is there anything else? Carlos, do you have anything?
No, Mayor, just simply, again, I wanted just take a few minutes, Mayor and Board of Aldermen, again, want to thank the Economic and Redevelopment Committee for the great support and effort in all the different meetings that we called you on. In particular, again, as Tamara mentioned, we were able to close on the Veterans Housing Project. If you drive by that area now, it is fully fenced in, and there is equipment in there already. So they're going to begin construction and begin the process there. I also want to thank Bill Islin and his team because we got the entire team got ahead of the curve with this project as we were continuing to negotiate the terms and conditions of the redevelopment agreement, as well as closing on the transfer of the site. Our team was able to get ahead with the utility company, and that's why they will be able to get started before the weather changes soon. So we will see a lot of action moving in that. We will attempt to coordinate a groundbreaking ceremony with the developer, and we will continue to keep you posted. The second thing I wanted to inform the Board of Aldermen and the public is that obviously as we continue to open up the economy, we're supporting the small business community. As the mayor mentioned, tomorrow there is a small ceremony here for the ratification of the Dogs of Dover. But at the same time, we're using that opportunity to support the business community, as the mayor mentioned, and we are hoping that both employees and residents come out and support your business community. Obviously, the small business community is the backbone of the United States economy, and there is no so our downtown. To support them by visiting their businesses, especially during this, very difficult time. But at the same time, we encourage everyone to come out. We encourage everyone to support the businesses, but we are reminding everyone to please wear your masks and, and keep your social distancing. We are still in a state of emergency. We're still, dealing with this pandemic. As the mayor indicated before, our numbers continue to increase. Now we're to 728, 61 deaths. So, we're still dealing with that, and that's a concern that we have, not only for for all the residents, but also for our employees. Finally, Mayor, I just want to mention that obviously because of the economy reopening, we are gratefully and very happy to be getting more calls from new developers that are looking into investing and bringing developments into town. So we are constantly talking to them and giving them tours of Dover, and I think that's a positive thing. Obviously, we will make the appropriate introductions to the Economic and Redevelopment Committee at the appropriate time, so that the committee is engaged in the type of development, in the type of projects that we want to continue to bring to Dover. Obviously, this is a team effort, and I want to encourage all the board of aldermen and and the mayor and the professionals to continue. Let's continue to work together. That's the only way we're going to get some of this reinvestment back into our town, and bring some rateables, that will help us relieve, the residents of Dover. So with that, Mayor, that's my report for the evening. Thank you.
Thank you for that. One last statement here. I just want to make sure that everybody knows our town hall has been closed to the public, but the town hall is open to the public per se to do business by phone, in person. We set up a side door window where people can come and still pay their bills. And we also still have the drop box on the side of the building. Town hall is still servicing the public. We have not served the public in any way. And if the person calls here, they can email. They're still getting the service that they deserve and the service that we have been providing since January 1st. With that, thank you all for joining us with the meeting. Yes, our clerk would like to.
I was just discussing this issue with the mayor right before the meeting, because I had heard something come in that our offices are closed. And I just wanted to mention that while the doors are closed, the town hall is not closed. We are still working. But in addition to what the mayor said, I know my office has. I've seen our Registrar of Vital Statistics. Members of the public have come into town hall to conduct business. It's through an appointment. They send an email. I come in, can I transact this? And we do meet with people, not frequently, haven't gotten many requests, but there's been a few where we have met with people by appointment only. And the reason that's done is you get 3 or 4 people showing up at one time. There's not enough space that everyone can properly social distance. So if somebody needs to come and they need to come inside to, whether it's a marriage license or whatever it might be, that is occurring, depending on the department and what it is. I just wanted to add that because I heard that and I'm like, I had somebody come in the other week to meet with me, a member of the public, a resident of Dover. So I just wanted to add that because.
Thank you. Thank you for those comments, Mr.
Yes,
Smith.
hi, it's Alderwoman Rugg. Thank you so much, John, for making the public aware that business is still being conducted and they are always welcome. This is our town. We support our town and we're here for the residents. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alderwoman.
Here, one thing. Hello.
Yes.
One person that was very, very essential and critical is Tamara from the construction department. She was very, very essential in the whole renegotiation of the Penrose redevelopment on Prospect. And kudos to her, and thank you, Tamara, for bringing some very important situations and priorities and issues to our attention. And at the end of the day, the residents in the town of Dover will benefit greatly, and we thank you for that. So to Bill and Tamara and the people in the construction department, to Carlos, to you, Mayor, and the legal team, and to the aldermen, thank you very much for all your efforts on that redevelopment.
Ed, I actually want to piggyback off of you. I was going to say the same thing. I'm so grateful to Bill, Tamara, and the whole team for your patience as we learned the backstory to this project and, you know, the millions of questions and bringing us up to speed and helping us work through the negotiation. And to Carlos for really thinking outside the box to get this done as well. This will be such a boon for the town, and I'm very excited about it.
Thank you. We have one more, Carlos.
I just want to say thank you to everybody as well. Actually, they've actually broke ground over there. They actually are removing the blacktop over there. So the project is moving along very quickly. And I appreciate everybody's help on that. Thank you.
Bill, it is exciting, I have to tell you.
It is. It's definitely good to see some actual work taking place out there.
Yes, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Also, this is Alderwoman Rugg. Bill, it looks wonderful. The fencing looks so secure around the area. The fence, the sandbags, it looks so secure and safe for the workers and for the residents. So thank you for overseeing this project. And it's very exciting. Can't wait to see the finished. But every day I see the men working, and it is just so awesome to see this idea come to reality. So thank you, and everyone else that's worked on this project.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Hey, one more thing. I
don't have one more. Okay.
Thanks. I'd like to thank all the emergency officials, the Office of OEM, all our police department, the fire department, the Department of Public Works, the administration for the coordinated effort on this very fast moving and very devastating storm that hit us on Tuesday. So thank you. I know you guys have been working 24/7 to clear the brush, clear the town, make sure the power is restored, and making sure you're clearing the roads for the electrical workers to restore power and the cable companies to restore internet for all our residents. So to all of you, the workers and employees, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mayor, I just wanted to add that, you know, since everybody's thanking everyone, which is great. And you know, we have a group of volunteers, which is the planning board members. Those are residents that volunteer their time. And every time we have a project that is approved by the planning board, it takes a lot of hours for them to be able to analyze these projects, to understand the projects, make sure that they are, you know, working with Bill and his team and Tamara. So, you know, planning board members are never thanked enough for the volunteers. We want to thank them today. I also want to thank both Alderwoman Rugg and the mayor for during the heat wave that we had a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, we did open town hall to the public as a cooling center, and it was open both Saturday and Sunday. And we had staff and volunteers again, and Alderwoman Rugg and the mayor that were here during the weekend, making sure that the place was open. We had water and we had masks and everything. We were prepared for anyone that needed a place to cool down from the extreme heat that we have. So again, all this is because we are working as a team and we continue working. This past weekend during the storm, we again opened the town hall for anyone that had lost power and they needed to recharge their phones or their iPads or anything like that so that they can continue to function. So again, town hall continues to be open. It's just that it's a different form of opening town hall to the public because we be mindful, and I keep saying it, we have to be mindful that we're still under a pandemic and we're still in a state of emergency. And the town hall continues to be open, but we're just doing it in a way that we put safety first, and safety for the employees, safety for the residents, safety for our board of aldermen and the mayor, and we're just trying to slow down the spread of this deadly disease that we're dealing with. So again, thank you to everyone that continues to participate. We can only propose, we can only give ideas and implement some of the initiatives, but without the volunteers and without the support of the board of aldermen and we will not be able to make it. So again, thank you to all, and that will be now the conclusion of my report.
Thank you.
Mayor, one more thing, may I?
It better be short.
I'd like to ask Deputy Administrator Carlos Sanchez, how much more money did the town of Dover receive by the renegotiation of the Penrose Prosper Street veterans housing? I know you guys were in negotiations for quite some time. How much more money were you guys able to secure for the town?
So we were able to renegotiate the initial proposal that was on the table when we came in. We'll have no money coming into the town of Dover out of the transaction. We restructured the whole financial structure with New Jersey Transit and the developer, and the town of Dover received a total of $400,000 at the closing of this transaction. $350,000 was for the conveyance of the site, and in addition, we received a $50,000 check from the developer to support community for the fields, to support maintaining the fields, especially Crescent Field. So we will be doing some good work with those money. So it's a total of $400,000 that we were able to bring in as a result of the restructured transaction.
Thank you.
And with that final note from Carlos, did you hear the name New Jersey Transit? It's all about building relationships, because for those that have been in Dover for a long time, knew that New Jersey Transit never would give Dover the time of day. But I think that we've hit first base with them. And if we continue on that path, we'll be able to work together with them for other items and things that are here in Dover that New Jersey Transit is responsible for. So again, big thanks, big kudos to everybody. When Carlos told me this deal was closing and we were getting this money, I was kind of like, I can't say yes until I see the check. It's like you won the lottery, but you haven't seen the check yet. So when the check came, then I said, oh, the deal is closed. But again, thanks everybody for all that they've done. And thanks for the public and all the people out there that are supporting this administration. We will continue to work and provide the needs of our residents. With that, we need a motion to adjourn.
Motion, Mayor.
I'll second it.
Oh, we got lots of them. Hi.
Thank you. I'll second that motion. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
All in favor?
Thank you all.
Yes.
Night.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good
And
night.
thanks for everyone for joining on the Zoom. Much
Yes,
appreciated.
thank you. Thanks, Adrian.
Good
Take care.
night.
Good night, everyone. Bye.